Alright guys, we're at the favorite part of the show. This is Present the Facts. This week we have Khaya versus Vela. And yeah guys, we're going to speak about the greatest African players. When we think about the greatest African players, you think of Abedi Pele, you think of Roger Milla, you think of George Weah. But let's talk about the greatest players we have seen as the current generation. I'm going to start off with Vela. Vela, you have 2 minutes. Please present the facts.
Okay, so my greatest African footballer, I'm going, and it might be a surprise, but I'm going with Didier Drogba. Didier Drogba story is very interesting because he only started really playing football full-time at the age of 21. Always had the potential but wasn't discovered, unlike someone like Samuel Eto'o, who was born into a very privileged family that was able to take him to academies to develop his game. Whereas Didier Drogba had to work the hard way through struggles, staying away from his family, leaving the Ivory Coast as a young kid. And he was able to come up to what is now the fourth highest goal scorer for Chelsea. And being initially, at the time Chelsea signed him, the highest transfer for Chelsea at the time. Didier Drogba has also gone on to win an African Cup of Nations, even though it looked like he might not do it. Samuel Eto'o has also done that, but Samuel Eto'o, interestingly, won his last African Cup of Nations at the age of 22. So during his prime years, he was not particularly having the greatest influence over the Cameroon national team. And even the Olympic gold medal, that still goes back to when he was a very young player. Whereas Didier Drogba has been able to do so much in the Premier League, winning 2 Golden Boots in what many consider the best league in the world, as well as having 4 Premier League titles to go along with that. And the thing about Drogba is that he has always been the talisman for Chelsea, whereas Eto'o was fortunate to play with many other great players like your Ronaldinhos. And even when Eto'o went across to Inter Milan, he had to make room in the middle for Diego Milito, having to play on the left. So Samuel Eto'o, I do agree, is very good. And another thing about Didier Drogba is that he's the only footballer that I know who has been on the time 100. And for me, being a great is not just about all you're doing on the field, but everything that you do for the game. Didier Drogba is one of the most inspirational Africans of all time, not just one of the greatest footballers. So that's why I'm going with Didier Drogba as my greatest African player of all time.
Wow, Vela, that was fantastic. Khaya, can you keep up? Can you do it?
I'm ready, man.
All right, you have 2 minutes. Please present the facts.
All right. I'm just going to keep this very simple and just state facts. So keep up because I'm going to say a lot right now. Samuel Eto'o was Young African Player of the Year in 2000. He is a 4-time African Player of the Year, 3 of those years in a row. He is all-time Cameroonian top scorer with 56 goals in 118 games. He's a 2-time AFCON winner. Then we go to club level. He scored 130 goals in 199 games for Barcelona, 53 and 102 games for Inter Milan. He finished his club career with 347 goals in 710 games. That's ridiculous. He's a 1-time UEFA Club Forward of the Year. He is a 2-time UEFA Team of the Year. He was even the man of the match in the 2006 Champions League final, as well as he also scored against Man United in the 2009 Champions League final. So you know he's a big game player as well. He's a 2-time FIFA Pro player in the World 11 twice. He was even 3rd in the 2005 World Player of the Year votings. 3rd in the world, not just Africa, the world. He ended his career with 3 Champions League medals. He was a 4-time league winner, 3 times with Barca, once with Inter, and he ended his total career, club and country, with 403 goals in 828 games, which is just under a goal every second game. You can't deny him. In his prime, he was top 5, maybe even top 3 strikers in the world, and you can't deny his resume. It's facts. You can't deny Samuel Eto'o. You can't.
All right, thank you very much, Khaya. You kept in time, which is fantastic. So now we're going to do the rebuttals. I'm going to start with Mr. Vela. You have a minute.
Sure, Khaya. You really did present facts there, which is very good. But I wasn't really sensing why you really believed that Samuel Eto'o, because stats are very nice. But when you look at Didier Drogba, let's even talk about that Ballon d'Or voting, finishing 3rd in the world. In the 2007 Ballon d'Or, when Kaká won, Messi came 2nd, Ronaldo came 3rd. Who was 4th? Didier Drogba. And the people he had above him, I would say, you were talking about two of the greatest players of all time above him. So he had a very, very good year. And he's been considered top 3, perhaps even top 2 strikers in the world in his prime. Didier Drogba as well. And that's what I'm saying about Didier Drogba being, and you can't not talk about the influence that he's had. He has won everything that Eto'o has won. He has scored a lot of goals, and his talent was only discovered. He couldn't start like Eto'o when he was a kid because he had to take the hard way to get to the top. Let's say if Drogba was given the same opportunity as Eto'o, would he have been less prolific? I'm not sure.
My only problem with what you were saying when you were talking about Drogba is I felt like you were telling me more about why Eto'o isn't the greatest and not as much as you should have been telling me about why Drogba is the greatest. In your 2-minute chat you focused quite a bit on why Eto'o's not the greatest, and I only presented facts as to why Eto'o is the greatest.
No, because anything that I would have said, if I spoke about goals, if I spoke about trophies, I can't lie to myself and say that Drogba has more. I can only say where Drogba has scored his goals. I can say where he's played, what team he's played for.
African Player of the Year.
Drogba's won it 2 times. Drogba's won it 2
Vela.
times. Drogba's won it 2 times. Drogba's won it 2 times. You see, but that's
Which
the
is
thing.
this.
I can't beat you on the numbers. I can only present
That's
my
my
belief
point.
as
That's
to
my
why
point.
and everything that I have
resume
said
is
are facts. Everything that I have
undeniable.
said
It's
are facts.
undeniable.
Everything that I've said are facts, and I've used those facts to present why I
guys,
believe Drogba is the
Well,
GOAT
guys, I'm
for
gonna have to cut
African
it there.
footballers.
We'll be talking about this forever. But yeah, guys, this was very heated. We're gonna just take a little break now. We're gonna get the jury members back, and then voting will happen. Get hyped. Alright, guys, after that heated debate, it's time to vote. I'm gonna take it over to the men that we don't care about in Cape Town. Jeezy, what's your vote?
Firstly, gentlemen, very well debated topic. As much as by facts, I had to agree with Khaya. I think in terms of how he presented the facts and the approach that he had with it, I'm going to give Vela my vote. I think him speaking about how Drogba did so many things off the field for Africa and whatnot, I think persuaded me to vote for Vela.
Alright, thank you very much, Jeezy. We'll take it back here to Joburg. Fizz, what's your take?
I'm inclined to agree with you, Jeezy and Vela. You know, he was quite a humanitarian. He did a lot for the game. But I think the question was the greatest footballer that we've ever seen, African footballer. His facts were presented; they were undeniable. I'm gonna go with Khaya.
Alright, thank you, Fizz. Thank you, Fizz. We're gonna give it to Khanya. Khanya, what do you think?
Firstly, like I say, well done, gents. That was a nice chat. I think it was an easier battle for Khaya. So I really wanted to hear, you know, besides the stats, I was looking to hear why, you know, him as a footballer, you know, because that's ultimately what we're chatting about. So for me, I have to go with Khaya. I'm sorry, with Vela, because he presented his opinion, but was also factually backed up. I think Khaya just was too stuck in the facts and not really selling Eto'o as a player. Yeah.
Alright, interesting. Mr. Mhlongo, what do you have to say?
Look, Eto'o's numbers were better internationally and at club level, so I think it was easier to argue for Eto'o. But yeah, the Drogba argument wasn't convincing enough, so I'm gonna have to go with the Eto'o argument because ultimately, like Zung said, he was stuck in the facts, but this is presenting the facts. So, and the facts are with Eto'o. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Eto'o. So Khaya.
Alright, so that means we have a tie. Essentially, it means that I get to vote, which is it's exciting. It's exciting. You know, it's the first of its kind. So yeah, it's tough. You guys had a good debate. I loved the banter between you guys. But yeah, like it said, it's called present the facts. Vela had a good way of trying to circumnavigate the situation. But yeah, Khaya came with the facts, so I'm gonna give it to Khaya. Team Joburg.
That's bad. That's bad.
All right, we love it. We love it. And that was Present the Facts. Congratulations to Khaya. Vela, you did wow. Now, Khaya, you got the crown for Team Joburg. How do you feel, man?
Feel good, man. We needed
All right.
that. We needed that.